Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Coffee Break, and welcome back to the CoffeeCast ProCast edition. And I am bringing you game number 3 between SKMC and EGPuma. And even in only 2 games, we've seen how incredibly good both these players are. In game number 1, MC pushes with a 2-base 3-gate sentry push, and was able to do quite a bit of damage to Puma and his economy, and was able to eventually win that game despite some very nice drop play out of Puma, just doing a very good harass. MC was able to tech up and just blast Puma in that game. But game number 2, MC tries the same thing, a 2-base 3-gate sentry push, but this time Puma was prepared. The problem with that 2-base timing push, I should say a sentry timing push, not a 2-base, because it's more of a sentry timing push than a 2-base push. The problem with that 3-gate sentry push is that you have a lot of light units. You have a lot of zealots and a lot of sentries. So what does Puma do in response? He goes ahead and gets a couple of siege tanks with siege mode out, puts them on the high ground, and is able to decimate MC's original push. And when MC tries to push back later on the game with a couple of Colossus in his army, he is defended, and Puma pushed out with a double medevac drop into the main base and was able to just take MC's main out, and that was it for MC. So Puma did manage to tie the series up 1-1, and I wouldn't be surprised to see MC do something new this game here on Shakira's Plateau, seeing as Puma has kind of caught on to MC. It's okay to do the same strategy twice, maybe even twice in a row if you really feel like it. I would like to see a different strategy last game, but I can't see MC doing it 3 times in a row. It seems Puma's just right on top of him. So I'm interested to see what MC will do this game. Looks like both players, or at least MC, there's Puma's. Both players probably going to be opening up with that 1X expansion, the 1-gate or the 1-Rax expansion, because those are just very, very common openers, very, very good to do. And yeah, I mean, it's just standard stuff all the way around. And I would not expect to see tanks out of Puma. Pardon me. I would not expect to see tanks out of Puma again this game. It worked very, very well in his previous game. But I feel like tanks are kind of this awkward X factor in TVP, as pretty much everything in the ProCast arsenal does counter tanks. Zealots with charge can counter tanks, Blink Stalkers counter tanks, Immortals counter tanks, Colossus with range aren't that bad against tanks. You're actually more hard-pressed to find a unit that isn't good against tanks than you are to find a unit that can counter the tanks. So I think that tanks were a great decision in the last game. It really helped hold off against that push. But I can't see them being all that effective 2 times in a row, considering it's a little bit more of a, I hope he doesn't know how I have tanks, otherwise he can do, X, Y, Z to be able to counter it. But on the other hand, I'm not going to diss Puma by any means, because Puma can do whatever he wants because he's amazing. This game we are going to be seeing a 3-Rax opener instead of a 2-Rax factory opener. Just going to allow Puma to pump out lots and lots of infantry, getting a tech lab before a reactor. So we're going to be seeing some upgrades coming out onto the field fairly early. And it looks like if, Puma might be seeing that same opener that we've been seeing in previous games. I won't rule out a normal build out of MC yet, or I should say a different build yet, as this is a perfectly fine opening to do if you're not exactly sure if your opponent's going to be expanding or not. But it's kind of looking like it might be ramping up to be that same thing. And a 3-Rax hold with Stim Pack definitely, I think, would be enough to hold off against a heavy sentry push like what we might be seeing out of MC. Does have his 2 Stalkers positioned out in front of Puma's base. He's been doing this every game. Very nice strategy. Might actually lose a Stalker. Was not quite paying enough attention. Does manage to get 1 Stalker. Puma does. And now trying to run up and pick off an extra Stalker. Beautiful kiting by MC to go ahead, turn, and shoot. And it kind of shows that the Terran arsenal is not the only arsenal that can do that scoot and shoot micro. It's a little bit harder for for Stalkers than it is for Marines to kite something like a Zealot. But definitely still an effective strategy if you want to just pick off 1 or 2 units, especially in the early game. Kind of an interesting pylon positioning out of MC, just right and next to this little cliff line here, I suppose. The reason why I don't necessarily like this, I mean, it's great if he can run up and manage to get inside the base. He can warp directly into the base. However, if he can't get that vision, this can be taken out from the high ground super, super easy if Puma sees that, and actually he does. So Puma can really just run over there and take that out real quickly. And that would be a better pylon if there were a second pylon in position somewhere else, which we are not seeing right now. And it looks like MC, once again, going to be doing this sentry push, just coming a little bit later in this game than in previous games. Maybe because of that little extra Marine push out in the earlier game. Maybe because of the longer rush distances. I'm not exactly sure. Only 1 bunker in position to defend this game, however, and a lot of the Marines actually out of position to help defend against this. Zealot's actually getting caught up a little bit on that ramp before finally running up and being able to take out that bunker. But these force fields are now working against MCS's. Zealots cannot get up onto that front line to be able to take out the Marines. And really, that's a lot of Marines on the map. I don't feel like MC should be trying to push this. The force field factory does land, pulling an MKP right there, just dropping that down onto the ramp and not allowing MC to run up. And very nice move by Puma. Really needed that extra factory there. I think he could have held otherwise, but this will A, discourage any sort of troop movement by MC, and B, will help him will definitely help Puma defend if MC does indeed try to push up, as the surface area engagement will be very, very limited for MC. And it looks like MC is just going to go ahead, fall back, do exactly what he's been doing. Drop a few gateways, drop a robotics bay. And I really wish MC would do something new, because this obviously has not been working for him in the past. He's been doing, I mean, it worked in game 1, but he's been doing the same exact build every time. Dropping these 3 gateways, doing the sentry push, falling back, getting the robo, getting the 3 extra gateways, getting Colossus. It's the same exact thing over and over. And Puma just has MC's number pegged. And MC is starting to, I really feel the effects, as Puma knows exactly what to do against his opponent. And you really don't want to let your opponent be able to metagame like that. Puma almost being able to blindly react. He hasn't really scouted his opponent doing this any game, but he's been altering his build just enough where if his opponent did not do the sentry push, he would be fine. But if he is doing the sentry push, he's great. And now we see trying to do a little bit of an elevator up into the natural expansion, but not going to be able to get it, as MC's army is completely in position to defend against it. However, he does force a Guardian Shield, which is worth a force field. So anytime you can force that to pop, always a nice thing. It's kind of like trying to force your opponent to stim up and then not actually engaging their army, except maybe a little bit less severe. On the other side of the map, we do have Puma taking his 3rd base. That is a big deal for Puma, considering he has MC boxed in on just 2 bases right now. MC having a little bit of problems pushing out, now being able to get that that ability to push out, and actually going to have some of his army caught up here on this ramp. I don't know if that's his full army. Indeed, there's actually a Colossus and a few Stalkers sitting back home, and Puma could actually push up the ramp, and I feel do quite a bit of damage to this army, as there's not really all that much to be able to take on the main army of MC right now. Oh, pardon me, the main army of Puma, especially with the Stim Marines and Marauders with, I believe, concussive shells. If I can just click on one. Yep, do have concussive shells on the field. I feel like Puma definitely missed an opportunity there to clean up a good half of MC's army without taking too many losses himself. But that's not going to be too big of a deal. Just going to persist, going to go ahead and get 2 medevacs and be ready to try to drop this top side. MC is in position to defend against this, but he, once again, is only on 2 bases. Only on 2 bases right now. And with this 3rd base up, don't know if it's going to be a planetary or an orbital yet. We're going to see Puma really catching up in this harvester count. And a Terran player that's even on the harvester count with mules is ahead in that economy, especially when they have an extra base to be mining off of. MC does have some nice tech right now. He has these charge lots with a few Colossus and sentries mixed into the background, but I don't know if it's going to be enough, as there are ghosts coming into the army fairly shortly. I know I saw the Ghost Academy go down. Don't know if ghosts are out quite yet. No, they are not. because going to be able to annihilate the Sentry's energy and a lot of the health on these units as well. And MC might find himself in a difficult position as the Zealots with no shields just get roasted so quickly. Going for Blink instead of taking up 2 Archons or a Storm. With his limited information, I do not know if he has seen that Ghost Academy yet. No, he has not. And with the information he has, I guess I can agree with Blink. But with, once again, these Ghosts on the field, really going to need another piece of tier 3 tech himself, I feel. Colossus not going to be quite enough with all of the Vikings coming out onto the field, as a lot of Vikings can just decimate Colossus lines. And again, the EMPs on the main army will just crush it instantly. We do have a bunker with a couple of Marauder units that's going to hold up his opponent for just a couple of seconds while Puma does get his bearings, forcing all these units up onto the high ground as there was currently no vision up there. Now the Colossus get vision on the high ground. A couple of Knights Force Fields do go down. The Colossus are falling somewhat quickly. However, one Colossus is down. It looks like the second Colossus is down as well. Force Fields actually once again working against the Zealots. Beautiful Force Fields in the beginning, but afterwards just not all that great. And actually a drop going on in the main of MC once again. I apologize that I missed that, but taking out all of his production capabilities once again. Puma just waiting for that attack vector. I actually want to go back and just see that real quickly, as that was really the game changer for Puma. And there you can see him dropping off right about the time MC decided to just go for it. And that's going to be able to take out his robotics. And MC, after he loses this army, is really going to have no capabilities to be able to reproduce. You can see him losing a gateway there, and then Puma's just going to go ahead and start pylon slamming all over the place, bring gateways offline, bring the forges offline, and MC just does not have enough to go ahead and persevere in this game. So that is game number 3 between these two players. Puma rallying back very strongly, is now up 2-1 over his opponent. I think 2-1. Yes, 2-1. Up 2-1 over his opponent. Mind going for a little bit there. And so if he wins this next game in this best of 5 series, he will win the series. MC needs to rally back. I feel needs to bring a new strategy to the table. Otherwise, he is not going to be able to live to fight a 5th game. But it's anybody's game still at this point. MC just has a little bit of extra work cut out for him. So will he be able to rally back? We will have to find out in just a second. And one last little plug. Go to coffeebreak.blogspot.com. That is coffeebreak with a 0. And check out my blog there about being an amateur caster and about some tips and tricks for you younger players. And with that, I'm going to go on to game number 4 between these two players. This is Coffee Break.